Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am in my shop. It is about 0 degrees outside. That's about a negative 17 Celsius, so a very chilly day here. I've got a fire going in the stove, and I've got all my bike projects here. I definitely don't have a shortage of projects, but I do like to buy in the winter months. I can get better deals on stuff, and then I've got lots of things to work on. One of the things I was looking at here this morning was this vintage Trek road bike. I'm guessing this is from probably the late 80s, maybe mid 80s, I don't know. Definitely an early Trek road bike. I don't see any model number on it anywhere, so that kind of confuses me. I just don't know what to call it. The tubing on this bike is listed as 022 double-butted chrome moly steel, so it's a decent frame for sure. These bikes were nice, you know, they were good riders and all of that. So I just kind of want to bring that one back to life. And one of the things that I want to do to it, I don't want to go crazy with it, do a lot of custom or anything. I'm going to basically keep this stock. But I do want to drill out the chain rings for that cool sort of vintage race bike look. Most of you know just what I'm talking about with the drilled out chain rings and all this. This was a very classic road bike race look here back in the 60s, 70s, all of that. You really didn't gain anything as far as a weight reduction or anything like that. Honestly, it just kind of looked cool. And that's the reason I'm doing it on this bike. Obviously, it's not a light bike by any means, but it looks cool. And it'll just give that a little bit of a custom look, kind of what I'm looking for on this cleanup. For many years, I restored old race bikes, mostly old British stuff. This is one method that I developed for drilling out the sprockets, both front and rear, on the old race bikes, just to make them look cool. Just one more custom thing on them. And it's a real easy way to stay very consistent with your drilling, with all your holes. When you're done, if you follow this method, your part will look very professionally drilled. It's a very simple process, nothing difficult about it, anybody can do it, and I'll just kind of show you as we go. To start out, I've got a piece of wood. You need something fairly flat, particle board, plywood, chipboard, that kind of thing works nicely. Put your ring on here, and let's do just a quick outline of at least the first upper third of that. Now what we're going to try to do is put a big glob of body putty right in here. We're going to cover it with the saran wrap, and then we're going to squish our ring into that. And what that's going to do is make a form at the top here so that we can just rotate this around, lock it in, and just clock it around as we drill. So let's go ahead and mix up a little bit of putty here. Just need a little bit. Mix your hardener in. How fast this sets up will depend on how much hardener you put in. So I'm just going to put a moderate amount. That should give us a good solid 3 or 4 minutes to work with this. Make sure everything's okay before it hardens up. What we're going to do is put a glob of this around the perimeter of our ring there. That's why we kind of marked how big that is. This stuff will stick nicely to the board. So something similar to that. Let's get some plastic over that. Now this stuff doesn't need to be air dried. It's a chemical reaction. So if we seal the air off with the plastic, that's perfectly fine. It'll still harden right up. And then we take our sprocket, we squish that in, just like that. Try to avoid, as much as you can, having stuff come into the middle, because we're going to need to scrape that away once this is done. And then we push it back towards the teeth here and get a good mold of those teeth. It can go over the top, that's fine. You'll just have a little bit of less of a visual there as you orient it, but that's fine. you'll feel it drop into the tooth slots there as we rotate this. 5 minutes into the hardening process, and that's already getting pretty hard. You can see what's over here on the mixer. Hopefully you can see that, but we've got a tooth mold. So what I want to do next is draw a line down the center of one of these teeth. Something like that. That should work nicely. And then we want to figure out about where we want the hole itself. Let's go with that. So that's going to be our mark for at least the first set of holes. If we wanted to add more, we can do that. But the initial set, we'll do center of the tooth. Hopefully you can see that. The initial holes, we're going to do center of the tooth right there. I think I'll use a 3/16 bit for these holes. We can start there. It's easy to go back and enlarge if we need to, but that'll probably give us the size we're looking for on that little thin ring. Raise this up just a hair. We're going to get real close to, so we don't have a lot of movement from the press itself. And then I need to lock everything in place so that nothing moves. And now we have a very stable base here to work off of. I don't know about you, but I need to put my reading glasses on for this. And now we're hitting that mark there when we drop the drill bit. So that's kind of where we want to now pin our jig. And for that, we're just going to use some of these clamps. Try to get this on here without moving anything, and then we'll recheck it all and make sure that we're in the right spot and nothing moved. Able to rotate this around as we drill, and it'll put the ring in exactly the right spot for the next hole. Just realized my GoPro battery had died. One thing you definitely want to do is keep all the little metal shavings out of your tooth pockets there, because they could throw you off potentially. So just kind of take a second and clear those away in between. Okay, so I think those holes look perfect for what we're doing. Now we need to chamfer the edges on those just a little bit. That's something you could either do on the drill press or you could do by hand if you're very, very careful. I'll go ahead and do it on the drill press just to show you, because what we'll do is we'll set the depth gauge on this so that every one of the little chamfers is exactly the same depth. Without moving anything here, all I'm going to do is replace the drill bit with this guy here, and theoretically we'll still be in the exact same spot, and we'll just work our way around again, and we'll put a nice little edge on those. Okay, so we're swapped out here. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to set the depth gauge on this. So we're going to run this all the way down to where we want to be, and then the collar, I'll go ahead and lock it there. We know we're going to want it just a little bit lower than that because we're going to want to go into the material a little. So let me get this out of the way, and we'll set that, and then we'll come back to there. So that should be a good spot for depth on this. We need to do a test and we'll see where we're at. So that is stopping right there, and that looks like we're in a pretty good spot. What that does is just to add a little bit of shine to everything, takes the hard edges off, and makes it just look a little more finished. So even though my bit here is getting a little bit dull, it works pretty well on the aluminum here. We'd get a little bit smoother chamfer there if I had a new countersink, but we'll use that for now, at least for demonstration purposes. I might buy another one before we actually do my crankset there, but this will give you guys an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, and we're putting the last little chamfer on now. There we go. Okay, so that went pretty seamlessly there. So let's take this over by the light and we'll take a closer look at it. But I would consider that done. I probably wouldn't want to drill that out anymore. Don't want to weaken it. But I think that's a really super cool look. Okay, so there we are. We got a nice consistent pattern in there, and I think everything looks really awesome. As long as you've got, like I said, round rings, that sort of pattern works really, really well. So just a nice way to do that. So hopefully that'll give you all some ideas on how to make your old bikes look a little more race-like, and just a cool factor there. I just like them because it's just turns the cranks into kind of a piece of artwork. I think they just look really, really cool that way. Once again, everyone, thanks for watching. If you found this interesting, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate your support on the channel. And we're going to start working on some other bikes here. I think my Trek 7000 is next in line. I should have the rest of the parts for the Trek 7000 coming in the next couple of days, and everything should be a go on that. So over the next few days, since apparently I won't be doing any riding out there in the sub-zero temperatures, I should be able to get that all wrapped up and looking good. So thanks everyone, and I'll see you on the next video.